with the DSCR guidelines, we do have very many options. We just have to review all the different guidelines that we have, right? We have over 5,000 different product combinations possible. First one here, which we love using, is the 15% down DSCR option. Now, this one only allows using long-term rents, but there are no restrictions in it, as you may find with full doc type loans. So due to the extra flexibility, we're just able to use the long-term rents here, as long as the long-term rental amount covers the minimum debt service coverage ratio requirement. If that is the case, which is what we would always first do, see what the long-term rent is for that area. And if it works, let's just go with the option, easiest option, I guess, in this case. And we're looking at 8.249 is our lowest cost option at a cost of 0. It is par. And 6.874 is our lowest cost option for 15% down. This is also our lowest down payment option, also a very common attribute here. So our 15% down option when the property's long-term rents qualify the borrower. Now, should the long-term rents not work, then we do have amazing options using AirDNA and other tips and tricks. So using AirDNA, minimum down payment is 20%. However, look at those rates. We're looking at 7% as our lowest cost option, with actually a lender credit of 0.025 points. And you can buy that down all the way to 6.375 at a cost of 2.475 points for our DSCR purchase option with 20% down using AirDNA. And as those of you may not be aware, AirDNA is a database that compiles short-term rental property comparables. So do be aware that the comparables, like any other comparables, have to be similar in gross living area, close proximity to the property, and preferably the same design and style. Our next option, if AirDNA comps are not available, you could use short-term rental revenue reports. Now, for a purchase, this is only going to be possible where the seller is already operating the property as a short-term rental and is able to provide the last 12 months of short-term revenue reports from portals such as Airbnb, HomeAway, VRBO, Booking.com. Those are just some of the more popular ones. 6.99 is our lowest cost option at par, and you can buy that down all the way to 6.5% at a cost of 1.85 points for DSCR purchase option using short-term rental revenue reports. Now, if short-term rental revenue reports are not available because the property was not operated as a short-term rental, if AirDNA comps are not possible, maybe there weren't any suitable comps or just none at all, or if the long-term rent does not qualify the property either at 15 or 20% down, then an option is qualifying the borrower with a low ratio DSCR option. This is where the acceptable debt service coverage ratio would be 0.75 to 0.99. And if that is the case, 25% down will allow the borrower to qualify with less than 1.0 DSCR. So 7.875 lowest cost option at par. Buy that down to 6.375. Pretty amazing there at a cost of 3.475. And now we have our last purchase example before I share with you our refi example with the no ratio DSCR option. This is where the property cash flows at less than 0.75 debt service coverage ratio. This does require 25% down payment, so max LTV for this option is 75%. However, this will allow the financing of a property that is actually not even cash flowing at 75% of the monthly housing expense. And we are looking at our lowest cost option is 8.749 at par. And you can buy that down all the way to 7.249 at a cost of 3.225 points. And our last example is cash out refi, 75% LTV for your DSCR property using AirDNA. Yes, we actually do have an AirDNA cash out refi option. Almost every example out there has AirDNA for purchases only. However, here at the Mortgage Calculator, we have this option for cash out refis, full LTV, 75%. The only catch here is that it does have to be for properties recently put into service as a short-term rental. That means that a property that was either recently purchased or may have just undergone an extensive renovation, preparing it to be put to work as a short-term rental and furnishing it and all that stuff. And if the borrower can provide documentation showing that it was just put into service, then you are able to use AirDNA, which is an amazing option. 7.374 with a lender credit of 0.025 points, and you can buy that down all the way to 6.499 at a cost of 2.975 points. Of course, all the other regular DSCR cash out refi options are also available. Just wanted to highlight this one for you, which is the cash out option, max LTV using AirDNA. So look towards the Mortgage Calculator for all your short-term rental property needs.